The safe was wide open, displaying piles of cash that represented more than most people earn in a lifetime. Alexander Grant remained motionless in his leather armchair, breathing steadily, his eyes half open, watching her every move. Little Amara, only 6 years old, entered the office holding her mother Selina's hand. The two had arrived for the night shift, as they had done for the past 2 years at Alexander's company. The girl wore her miniature pink gloves, a gift Selina had bought to make her daughter feel useful while accompanying her during school holidays. Alexander had planned this moment meticulously. After discovering that his trusted business partner had embezzled $3 million, his trust in humanity was shattered. At 47, he had built an empire, yet he now wondered if there was a single honest person left in the world. The test was simple. Leave the safe open with a fortune in plain sight, and see if anyone could resist temptation. Selina began dusting the bookshelves, focused on her work, while Amara, curious like all children, approached the table where Alexander appeared to be sleeping. Her little eyes sparkled at the sight of so much money, more than she had ever seen in her life. Alexander held his breath, preparing to witness yet another disappointment. But what happened next left him completely paralyzed. Amara didn't touch the money. Instead, she noticed that the bills were disorganized and began to arrange them carefully, separating them by denomination and stacking them with the precision of a little accountant. Her small hands worked with impressive delicacy, as if she were handling something sacred. "Mommy," she whispered, "Mr. Grant's money was all messy. I tidied it up just like you taught me to do with our coins at home." Selina turned quickly, startled. "Amara, you can't touch the boss's things." "But it was messy, Mom. He'll be happy when he wakes up and sees everything tidy." Alexander felt something he hadn't felt in years. His throat tightened with emotion. This child, who had probably never held more than $20 in her hands, had organized a fortune instead of taking a single penny. More than that, she had explained her actions with the innocent transparency of someone who had nothing to hide. What Alexander didn't know was that this simple gesture of honesty from a 6-year-old was about to set off a series of events that would not only change his life, but reveal truths about prejudice, kindness, and the true value of people. In the weeks that followed, Alexander continued to observe Selina and Amara discreetly. He discovered that Selina worked double shifts, cleaning at his company at night, then scrubbing at a dentist's office during the morning. Amara always accompanied her, doing her homework in the waiting room or playing quietly while her mother worked. What impressed Alexander most was the education Selina gave her daughter. "We always return what isn't ours, even if no one is watching," he overheard her teaching Amara. "Our honesty is worth more than any money in the world." Selina's past explained her strength. She had grown up in foster care after losing her parents at the age of 9. She had struggled to graduate from high school while working odd jobs, but could never afford college. At 22, she became pregnant, and the father disappeared the moment he learned of it. Since then, she had supported Amara alone, refusing to accept any assistance she considered charity. Moved, Alexander quietly increased Selina's salary, instructing the payroll department to mark it as a category adjustment. But his discreet generosity did not go unnoticed by the wrong eyes. Harold Whitman, vice president of operations, noticed the financial adjustment during a budget meeting. He was a 52-year-old man born into privilege, his arrogance sharpened by a lifetime of never facing consequences. "Alexander," Harold said with a smirk, "why are we wasting extra money on cleaning staff, especially on that particular employee?" "Selina is an excellent professional," Alexander replied curtly. "Excellent," Harold chuckled. "You need to understand where people like her belong. Give them an extra coin, and they'll soon be asking for the whole vault. It's in their nature." Rage burned in Alexander's chest, but he kept his composure. Harold's shares in the company made him politically untouchable, at least for now. "And besides," Harold added, "she brings that little girl here. Completely inappropriate. What kind of mother drags a child into a corporate environment? Clearly, she doesn't have a proper family structure." That evening, Alexander's fury boiled over. He witnessed Harold corner Selina in the hallway. "Listen carefully," Harold sneered. "I know you're being paid more than you deserve. I don't know what you're doing for Mr. Grant, but it stops now. Selina turned pale. Sir, I don't understand. Of course you don't. People like you never do. Just take what you're given, keep quiet, and get that child out of here. This isn't a daycare center. Amara hid behind her mother, frightened. Selina hugged her protectively. Sir, I'm just doing my job. Your job, Harold spat, is to clean and be invisible. Nothing else. Alexander, watching everything from his office, felt a righteous anger awaken within him. He had tolerated Harold's arrogance for too long. This time Harold had crossed a line, frightening an innocent child. That night, Alexander made a decision. It was time to act. The plan? The next morning, Alexander made a call. Ethan, I need your services again. He told Ethan Cho, a former FBI investigator who had helped him uncover the embezzlement. What kind of trouble now? Ethan asked. The kind that involves racism, abuse of power, and a coward who thinks he could destroy innocent people. Ethan chuckled. That spoiled brat Harold Whitman? That'll be easier than stealing candy from a baby. Guys like him always leave trails. Meanwhile, Harold escalated his harassment of Selina. He fabricated lateness reports, pressured HR to discipline her, and even intercepted her in the parking lot to make disgusting insinuations. Alexander recorded everything. Unbeknownst to Harold, the security system he himself had approved was now collecting the very evidence that would destroy him. By Friday, Harold had devised his cruelest scheme yet, planting a stolen Rolex in Selina's cleaning cart and catching her red-handed. That night, as Selina scrubbed the office and Amara worked on her homework, Harold marched in with 2 guards. Routine inspection, he said smoothly. He rummaged through her cart until his hand discovered the Rolex. How interesting, he gloated. A $15,000 watch from Mr. Grant's office. Care to explain? Selina froze. I've never seen that watch before. Of course you haven't, Harold sneered. It just magically appeared in your cart, right? Call the police, he ordered one of the guards. Amara whimpered. Mommy, what's happening? Be quiet, child, Harold snapped cruelly. At that exact moment, Alexander entered with Ethan and 3 investigative journalists. Harold, Alexander said calmly, I think you should put that watch down. Alexander, perfect timing, Harold said with fake relief. We caught your maid stealing. Alexander laughed coldly. Stealing? Harold, I've never owned a Rolex. I wear an Apple Watch. Always have. Confusion flickered across Harold's face. Ethan held up a tablet, displaying clear footage of Harold planning the watch earlier. Angle 1, Angle 2, Angle 3. We even have audio of you congratulating yourself. And there's more, Alexander added. Racist posts. Conspiracies with your father. 15 years of harassment and lawsuits paid off with hush money. The journalist cameras rolled as Harold's arrogance crumbled. Moments later, the police arrived. Harold Whitman, you're under arrest for conspiracy, attempted defamation, and racial discrimination, Detective Lopez declared, cuffing him. Amara peeked from behind her mother. Mr. Grant, will the bad man stop scaring Mommy now? Alexander knelt beside her. Yes, sweetheart. He'll never bother you again. Within days, Harold was ousted, his family shares forcibly bought out, his reputation ruined. Selina, meanwhile, was offered a new role, Director of Human Resources, where she launched scholarship programs for employees' children. Amara became the first recipient. 6 months later, Amara was thriving at one of the best private schools in the city. Selina was finishing her long-delayed degree with company sponsorship. Alexander's company, transformed by the scandal, became a national leader in diversity and inclusion. Harold, on the other hand, left prison 18 months later with nothing. His wife divorced him, his children abandoned him, and no company would hire him. On Amara's 10th birthday, Alexander made a public announcement. I have created the Amara Jefferson Scholarship Fund, which will provide college scholarships for talented young black students for the next 50 years. Amara threw her arms around him. Thank you for believing in us. Selina's eyes filled with tears. No, Alexander. Thank you for fighting when it would have been easier to look away. Years later, Alexander stood at Harvard giving a lecture. It was the honesty of a 6-year-old girl that reminded me. True wealth is not measured in dollars, but in integrity. Harold tried to destroy us, but in the end, he lifted us higher than we ever dreamed. Selena, now an MBA graduate and national HR leader, sat proudly beside her daughter, who was preparing to enter law school. And Harold? He was remembered only as a cautionary tale, a man who underestimated the power of honesty and lost everything. Because sometimes the greatest lessons come not from boardrooms or billionaires, but from the innocence of a child arranging a stack of bills she never dreamed of keeping.